Gary Oldman is an actor who's been in a zillion things, but most recently he's probably known for his roles in Harry Potter and the Dark Knight movies. But again, I went to his IMDb page earlier, and holy fuck, he's been in a lot of stuff. Well, he did an interview with Playboy, which really highlighted how big of a conservative douche weasel he is. So I want to go ahead and read you a portion of that interview, because there's a point that he made, which I hear conservatives make this point a lot, and nobody calls them out for just how silly it is, and they think they're nailing it when they bring this up. He said, quote, "Well, if I called Nancy Pelosi a cunt, and I'll go one better, a fucking useless cunt, I can't really say that, but Bill Maher and Jon Stewart can. And nobody's going to stop them from working because of it. Bill Maher could call someone a fag and get away with it. He said to Seth MacFarlane this year, 'I thought you were going to do the Oscars again. Instead, they got a lesbian.' He can say something like that. Is that more or less offensive than Alec Baldwin saying to someone in the street, 'You fag'? I don't get it." Now, this is just one portion of it. He goes on and continues to highlight what he views as an unfair double standard. And basically the point is, well, if liberals say some of these things, nobody gets angry. But if Republicans say these things, well, then it's a scandal, and then people ask them to apologize and say they're racist or sexist or this or that, okay? Now, why are those things different? Because context matters. I don't know what it is about the right wing, but so many of them try to pretend like context is irrelevant, when in reality, context is the only thing that matters when having conversations about racism or sexism or any issues like that where people feel like they have to apologize. So Bill Maher and Jon Stewart, for example, they are comedians. Their intent is to make people laugh, so there's no malice in what they're saying. Meanwhile, you're admitting, by you calling Nancy Pelosi a useless cunt or a fucking useless cunt, there is malice in that. You're doing it with the intention of hurting her. There's no comedic value to it. And by the way, nobody's going to drag you off to jail for speaking your mind. It's just that people probably won't want to work for you because they see, in fact, ironically, you may be the cunt, not her. Anytime I've ever heard Jon Stewart or Bill Maher or any other liberal really say something that possibly could be offensive if it's taken out of context, it's always done with a good intention. Usually with the intention of trying to call out racism or call out sexism or call out homophobia. When the conservatives do it, they're just showing that they're homophobes or showing that they're bigots, showing that they're racists or sexists. So yes, there is a reason. This is a legitimate double standard. To me, you know what this is like? This is like when people try to say, well, if black people can say the N-word, why can't I? It's always some old white dude who says that. Because there's a difference between an old white guy, 67 years old, lived in Mississippi his whole life with a thick accent. You know the historical perspective he's coming from, okay? Between him saying the N-word and an 18-year-old kid in Harlem who's, in an endearing way, saying what's up to his friends and using the N-word. It's not the same thing. You can try to pretend like it's the same thing, but we all know that in one situation, it's the same word. In one situation, it's fine. In the other situation, it's not fine. And look, I'm sorry, man, but it's just the reality of it. Same with Rush Limbaugh, how he's like, you know, he makes the same point all the time. Well, when I say it, people get angry, but when other people say it, you know, it's fine. Because of the entire context and perspective and history of who you are, Rush. When you say something racist, it's because it's fucking racist. When Bill Maher does a bit about how he wants President Obama to be more aggressive and to fit the old stereotype of black people, like wearing a purple suit and smoking a black and mild and telling reporters to go fuck themselves, he's doing that in the service of comedy, and he's doing that in the service of saying, I actually I would like Obama to be like that, and I really like black people. Rush Limbaugh does it in the opposite context. So, black people, they're all thugs and criminals, like his quote about how the Bloods and the Crips, that's the NFL looks like a game between the Bloods and the Crips, and the list goes on and on. So this is just a stupid point. They have to stop making it because they expose themselves to be not deep thinkers. They try to whitewash everything and do false equivalence and say it has to be even in all cases. No. The reality is context and perspective matters. And when a liberal or a progressive or a comedian says something that might be misperceived as racist or sexist, it's absolutely not racist or sexist. But when a conservative does it, it usually is racist or sexist or homophobic or just all around bigoted.